Hi everyone and welcome to Club 4, Episode 4 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM20 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. Things are going exceptionally well right now. You remember at the beginning of the season we had a little bit of a slow start with a few draws, which weren't terrible, but just didn't quite get us hitting the ground running exactly as we wanted at the very beginning of the season. We then drew against Arsenal. Surrounding that, it's been fantastic. Few goals conceded, a few scored, not the most, but a few, which is good. A few frees recently and a 4 against Leicester, which is exceptional. We went through in the English League Cup 4th round against Bristol City. We've got a tie coming up in December against Arsenal in the quarter-final of that, so that's going to be tricky. Considering that's the one blip so far in the recent weeks was that draw against Arsenal. They're going to be hard to beat. We're going well in the Europa League group stage. You can see that we topped the group, won 4 out of 4. I think we're going to qualify from this particular group fairly easily, which is what I expected at the beginning when we saw the group. I think it's a fairly easy group, so that's fantastic. And league form means that other than Liverpool, who are exceptionally hard to beat, although we did actually win our game against them early in the season, they're just so consistent. We are the one blip on their record. We beat them. Other than that, in their 12 games, they've won 11 of them. So they're going to be a really, really hard nut to crack. But we are on the coattails a little bit. We've got a game in hand over them, which is our a game today that we're going to play against our old team, Derby County. So we'll see what they're doing. They're currently sitting in 5th. So they're doing pretty well. Their recent form is exceptional as well. So Frank Lampard's gone in there and continued the good work that I started at Derby County, which is great to see. So they're going to be tricky today, and we're away from home. So that gives them the advantage as well. But we're going to give them a real good go. If we can win today, it'll put us on 28 points, which is still 5 points behind Liverpool, but at least it keeps us within grabbing distance of them. If we lose today, please don't let us lose to Derby County. But if we do, then, that's opened up like an 8-point gap to us and Liverpool, and that's going to be harder to close, obviously. We've got a few teams on our tails a little bit. Arsenal and Leicester 1 point behind us, and then the likes of Derby and Chelsea a couple of points back from that. So it's still quite tight at this point in the season, as you'd expect it to be. But we're going pretty well. I'm really happy with how things are working. In terms of the squad, if we go and have a look in at the squad, we've got a couple of injuries today. Greg Gray is out for a couple of weeks, which is disappointing, central defender. But we can bring in Romario, so he's going to be playing today, which is fantastic. We've also, unfortunately, got Camavinga, who's out for a couple of weeks as well. So this is our first time, really, with a couple of our key guys out of the team without me choosing to put them out of the team in that sense because of injury. But you can see most of my squad is playing games. Most of the second 11 have played half a dozen matches. The couple of youngsters in the squad haven't quite got their chance yet, but they will do as we progress a little bit and get into better positions. So their time will come, definitely. Because there's a lot of promise in the likes of Jay Collins. He's not got the complete set of attributes. I'd love a little bit more pace, but there's some really good stuff in there. So he will get a chance, absolutely. So will the others along the way. But everybody else is getting some good game time. I think is happy with their game time mostly. And the one player, unfortunately, that's not quite reaching the heights that I want him to reach. Everybody else is doing pretty well. Look at all these green average rating boxes. But it's this guy, Unavar, on the left wing. We haven't quite got the best out of him so far. I mean, he's got 2 goals and 3 assists in 11 matches from the left wing, which isn't bad. But his average rating is fairly low compared to the rest of the side. And one thing that I've decided to do about that today is just drop him slightly from the attacking role into the support role, which he prefers to play a little bit, and it will change his emphasis slightly. In the attacking role, you tend to find that he starts higher up the pitch and kind of either goes down to the byline or into the box. I want him in the box. If we go and have a look at him, he's not a great crosser of the ball. I want him in the box for this finishing and this composure and the long shots around the box and good passing. So we're going to drop him just slightly deeper. I know that impacts the gegenpress a little bit, but it shouldn't be too bad. And we're just going to see whether we can get him cutting in at the angle from slightly deeper to get him some decent long shots maybe. So that's something to look out for today's game. But as I say, other than the 2 injuries, everybody else is fit and healthy, which is fantastic. We're on a fantastic run of form, as we've just seen. We've got our old team, Derby County, today. So let's go in and check out what they're up to. So they're doing very well. Let's go and see what style of play Lampard has gone for. So he's in the 4-2-3-1. There's a few changes in there. There's some absolutely some names we recognise: Pauletta, Monterese, Harvey Elliott, Olashenko, Ivan, Batista there, Osmani, and then there's a couple interesting ones. There's a new goalkeeper, new left back, new centre back, because we took one of their centre backs, and one of Graham White is one of my new England caps. I've recently given him a cap for England because he's been playing well for Derby County. So yeah, there's some interesting players that he's brought in. And some recognisable names on the bench. ILM, who I think is a good goalkeeper, has only played 4 out of the games so far this season, so they're rotating their goalkeeping position. Let's go and have a look at the new one. Nathan, Brazilian, 20 years old. I think he's a decent goalkeeper, but I wouldn't say he's particularly better than ILM. Interesting that. Maybe we can take ILM away from them at some point if I feel that he's a better keeper than what we've got. Helber isn't, is it Helber? I think it is Helber, isn't it? Helber isn't the best keeper in the world. He's got some amazing attributes, but unfortunately the biggest attribute he's got is eccentricity, and I'm not really one for that. I like a bit more of a calm goalkeeper, if I'm honest. So it might be a position to look at in the coming transfer windows. So yeah, we'll have to check out what the options are, but certainly ILM is one of those potential options. You can see that Derby County are playing well, having got in the top sort of 5 or 6 of the Premier League so far. And so they're going to be tricky. You can see that they've got some good average ratings. So we're going to have to be on our game absolutely today. What they've got? They've got their key player is Olashenko. He is very good as a central midfielder. We've got some very good ones already at City, so I didn't feel the need to bring him over, but he is very good. And the captain Ivan and Martinez in there as well for the vice captaincy. So yeah, Derby County doing pretty well. I'm happy to see that they're continuing the run that we sent them on a little bit. But to be honest, we need to put them in their place a little bit today and, dampen them down a little bit and take the points from them in this particular match so we can keep the pressure on Liverpool. So that is what we're going to be doing. We've got no sentimentality here, no opportunity to feel anything for Derby County. It's all about Man City now, and we need the points. So we're going to go and see if we can get them. So tactics-wise, we're staying with the gegenpress. It's working very well for us, the 4-2-3-1 gegenpress. We've got those couple of injuries, as I say. Everybody else is fit and healthy and in good form. So it means that for today's match against Derby County, we are putting a team out of Helber in goal, Rivero and Romario in central defence, with Magnoni on the right side of defence, Cruz at left back, Victor, Malt and Foden in central midfield, Victor playing instead of Camavinga, Alart on the right, Univar on the left and Vasic up top, with a bench of Cork, Cooper, Ortega, McCann, Villegas, Cesar and Gibbons. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So after a couple of 3-0 wins, we're saying to the team, just carry on straight off from where you finished off the last match and continue in that vein of form. And we're going to see if we can dominate this game and take the points from Derby County. It's going to be difficult away from home. They're in very, very good form, but so are we. So we've got to have confidence in our ability to put on a performance and see if we can challenge all of the top guys in the division and take the points from them. So we've done it against Liverpool already. Olat has just picked up a knock. He's recovering well from it, so that's good, but we might have to keep an eye on that. We've taken the points off Liverpool. We took 1 point off Arsenal. Can we take another 3 points off another top side in Derby County, the side that pretty much we built mostly? So Vasic on the ball down the left hand side, cuts it back to Univar in that sort of area that I want him to be in, but he passes off to Mount, and there's a fantastic shot from Mount on the edge of the penalty box on his right foot, curls it into that far corner, Goalkeeper stood absolutely no chance. Vasic does great to hold it up. Unavar making that sort of run. I'd like him to have cut his run in on his right foot a bit, but he couldn't quite there. Lee Molt was the option just outside the penalty box, and he taps it off to his right-hand side. Molt runs onto the ball and powers it home for a 1-0 lead. And at half an hour into the game, we're looking pretty solid, I would suggest. There's not been too much to talk about. They've had a bit more possession than we have, a few more attempts than we have, but we've been more clinical when we've had our chance, and that's fantastic. And that will take us through to half-time. No major highlights there other than the one goal, really. And you can see that we are letting Derby have the ball a little bit more than I'd quite like them to have. On the gegenpress, I'd hope that we would suppress that a little bit, but that's okay. Olart is on a reasonable fitness considering he's picked up a knock. What's his knock? Potential thigh injury. I'm going to continue to play him because he's playing quite well, and the balance of our side is good at the moment. But in sort of 10, 15, 20 minutes into the second half, we might well have to take him off. But that's okay. We can do that. We've got the players to cope with that. So passionately, we're going to say you have played well so far, but there's still room for improvement. Didn't quite get the response I wanted for. So we are going to go and build them up a little, get them sort of really, really up for this second half if we can. So we're going to say to each of the aspects of the team, you've got what it takes. Go out there and do something. And that got them a bit more motivated. So let's put them out onto the pitch for the second half and see if we can dominate this second half and get a couple more clear-cut chances that maybe we can put one away for and put this game to bed. But it's Derby County starting the second half right from the kickoff with the ball, so there's something coming in terms of a highlight. They're working it very nicely to Osmeni down the right-hand side, cuts into the box, rides a challenge, has a goal shot at goal, but the goalkeeper gets behind it and parries it over the top of the bar quite comfortably, but it goes for a corner kick for Derby County. Corner comes in and we get it partially cleared, and then Olart picks up the ball and boots it clear. Could have been slightly more genteel about that and passed it up to Vasic, who was in a bit of space but decided not to and just cleared the lines, and it cleared the danger, but it didn't quite set us up for anything ourselves. We find ourselves with a free kick right in the sort of right back area of our pitch. Rivero takes the free kick onto Lee Molt eventually. Olart over the top down the right hand side, cuts into the box. I thought he might cut it back to someone, but he didn't. He had a go at goal, but the goalkeeper just about got it away for a corner kick. Corner comes in, and there was a good header by Vasic on the far post, wasn't there, from where the corner kick was taken, but didn't quite manage to get enough on it to take it away from the goalkeeper, who claims the ball. And at 70 minutes, now I am going to take Olart off. I just want to protect him from any major issues. We've got a couple of nerves going around the side just at the moment. 1-0 up. Away from home, you can kind of understand it a little bit. We've also got Victor, who's aggressive and got a yellow card already, but of course Camavinga isn't around, so we're going to have to risk Victor at the moment, I would say, and keep him in the game. And we are going to take out the nerves. So Vasic comes out and Gibbons comes in, and Paulo Cesar replaces Unavar. A slightly better performance by Unavar, but not quite as much as I want him to. We'll have to monitor him a little bit. But Cesar, as a youngster that's come into the squad, has done well when we've asked him to. Cross for Derby, into the box. They have one strike at goal, two strikes at goal, both blocked by good defending challenges and sort of putting the body on the line, which is fantastic to see. But you can see Derby County are fired up. Let's see if we can counter that. And say we're going to praise them for where they are currently and see if we can just get something out of them. There you go. There's a bit more of a fired up nature as well, and that immediately the Derby County go back to being a little bit anxious. Can we get something from this particular chance? Foden down the left hand side into Cesar, back to Foden, crosses to the far post, but it's partially cleared, and then they get away with it. And they counter-attack really quickly, right the way through. Kohler, right the way through the centre of our defence. Almost got through. Last-ditch block there to just pull him up a little bit. And it might just about see us through to the end of the match. We've got one more highlight probably to get through. And we nick the ball from them, which is fantastic. Gibbons, MBE. Steve Gibbons, MBE, picks up the loose ball and rides a challenge there, gets it to Cruz into Cesar, and there's the youngster. Unavar's understudy is performing better than Unavar is at the moment. Paulo Cesar, as a good young left-sided winger, he's putting on the pressure and he's only going to get better. His attributes are already rising through the training that he's been going through, so he's one to watch, certainly. At the moment, I'm happy to bring him on in these kind of circumstances and not put the pressure on him to start matches. But Unavar is going to have to perform better to keep his place long term. And it sends us through to the end of the game for a 2-0 win against Derby County, which, thank you for everything you did for us, Derby, but there is no sentiment here. And I'm really happy to have got the 3 points. We need it to keep chasing Liverpool. You can see the game was fairly even, really. Possession stats were even. Decent amount of shots for both sides. We had 7 on target. Clear-cut chances. We only had the one which we took. The second one was just well taken from a bit of a half chance. But passionately, we can go in there and say I'm very happy with the performance and the way you played, and keep their momentum of being happy and motivated for future games up. And there you go. We win against the old team of Derby County. KG conference, press conference from Lampard. He's not going to be happy with that, is he? But there you go. We damaged them a little bit in terms of taking away their good run of form. Let's see what Olata's got. He's got a couple of weeks at the maximum. It's not great, but I'm happy to have used him in the way that I did. It was worth keeping the game plan going for as long as we could. But that's the third player out of our side just at the moment that's got a bit of a knock. So we're going to have to ride through this a little bit and see if we can keep up the momentum with the slightly depleted numbers. Lee Moult on form, 5 straight wins for Man City, and only that 1 goal in that 5 against Newcastle where we beat them 2-1. Other than that, 4 clean sheets, which is fantastic. And it keeps us on the tails of Liverpool. 5 points behind. We need them to slip up. The last day of the season is Man City versus Liverpool. So if it could come down to that, that would be quite something, wouldn't it? But we'll have to wait and see what the rest of the season brings. So what's going to happen next? Well, next is going to be, for me, is a game against Russia for England. That's the next one coming up. I didn't realise it was in the England setup, but that's the next game, so that's why we're in the schedule for England. But look at this run of form continues for England. It's fantastic. We continue to dominate. There's our Euro Nations League final win. If we go back, you can see there's our World Cup win. We got 1-0 draw against Poland in the Nations League group stages, but the run of form is absolutely spectacular. And it was around here that I took over, having the side lose in the Nations League final a few years ago against Italy. So it was soon after that I took over, and we've been dominant ever since. So let's see whether that can continue over time. We'll see what next year's Euro Championships bring. Whatever happens after that point, I'll probably resign from the position and concentrate more on the club for the rest of the save again. But England has been a lot of fun. So that's coming up for England. If we go back into Man City and we go to their schedule, what's coming up for us in the next episode? We've got a lot of good games coming up. We've got the Arsenal match in the quarterfinal of the League Cup. We've got games in the Europa League to finish that off. I think that's comfortable. Manchester United in there as well. So what we're going to come back for? What we're going to come back for is we're going to come back for Sheffield United just at the beginning of December. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play Sheffield United at the beginning of December, next episode. And then the following episode, we'll play Leicester City just to finish off the calendar year. So that would be the plan. And then after that point, it gives me the month to go through the transfer window of January, see if we can do any business there before coming back and playing one of these games to continue the season on in a future episode. So that's where we're heading. But there's lots of great things to come, including, there you go, Liverpool away from home on the last day of the season. It's going to be spectacular if there's a title at stake there, isn't there? But anyway, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've got to keep this fantastic run of form going that we're on currently right the way through as much as we can. So I'll see if I can do that. Come back and join me next episode for the Sheffield United game. See if we can continue the run of form there. I'll update you in what's gone on since then. But yeah, until then, thanks for joining me today. It was a fantastic win in the end against Derby County, our old side. Keeps the pressure on Liverpool, which is fantastic. But yeah, thanks for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join my United City community, the more the merrier. If you haven't clicked that like button for me, also, I'd love it if you could do that for me. That helps me get seen by lots of other people. But until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.